Good morning. Today we're going to learn how to do letters in two-point perspective. Let's start by setting up a surface to draw our letters. You'll draw your eye level line, put a vanishing point at each end of the line. Next up, we want to draw a kind of a big building surface so we have room to work. I'm going to draw the front corner of the building pretty tall, with one long side. This is where my lettering is going to be. And then a short side, just so we can visualize this as a building. Next up, we're going to look at a few letters and think about our rule for perspective. So here we have some letters, E-R-A-S. If we're looking at them straight on, we have several vertical elements. You can think of the middle of the A as being a vertical, and also the middle of the S. And we have horizontal elements as well. When we look at it in perspective, it's tipped. And a few things I'd like you to notice. One is that the verticals stay vertical. All of the horizontal elements are going to angle towards your vanishing point. Please keep that in mind as you're building any letter. Horizontals need to go to the vanishing point. Verticals stay vertical. The most common mistake that I see students make is this. As they're building their letters, they fail to keep the verticals vertical, so the vertical part of the E should go like this, and instead the letters look tipped. So we'll work really hard today to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, so to do your letters, you need to have a top and a bottom line. This is where the letters touch, and a center line for the middle parts of your letters. Let's draw this fairly high on the building. Okay, so there are my three lines in perspective. The next thing that I want to do is to work with the E, remembering that the verticals stay vertical. One thing that can help me is to line up the red part of my ruler with a vertical line that I already have. That way I won't be tempted to tip the letter. So here's my vertical part of the E, and then the horizontal parts all go to the vanishing point. So that's pretty simple. This works for E's, T's, F's, any kind of letter that has those boxy horizontal vertical elements to them. Next up, we're going to try the letter R. This is very similar, except that we have a curve that's happening in here. So I'm going to draw the vertical, the horizontal parts, and then I will build the curve back in. Okay, so I'm still looking at the front of my building to make sure that the vertical part of the R stays vertical. The top of the curve is lining up with the vanishing point, and the bottom of the curve also is. Then I'm going to hand draw the rest of the curve in. You can see this works for a B or a P as well. And then you want to think of, you're just sort of imagining, like, where is the bottom of the R going to go to? And then draw out to that. Okay, next up we're going to do the A. The A is a bit tricky because we want to know where the center of the A goes. And you may remember from other things we've done in perspective, if you want to find the center of something, start with a box, draw an X through it. That tells you where the center is. Then if you go straight up, that's where the point is. This helps you with the A, also with the V and the W. To start, we want to very lightly create our box. So remembering verticals stay vertical. We already have the horizontals built in. Next up, I'm going to draw an X corner to corner. This tells me where the center of the letter is. Now if I take my ruler, line it up with the middle of that X, making sure I'm staying nice and vertical, and go straight up, that's where the point of my A should go. And then also remember the center of the A, this line, should be angling to the vanishing point. So we can just follow that line along. Next we'll talk about curved letters and how we keep those round parts straight. I find it's helpful to put it in a box. I also find it's helpful to do a line right down through the middle of the letter so I can keep the curve from tipping. So this works for O's, G's, and S's. I'm going to start by drawing a box. This is where I want my S to live. Then I want to do a center line for it. If you want to be tricky, you can draw an X through it to find your center line, or you can just kind of eyeball it. It's not as critical here. So there's the middle of my S. Okay, now drawing, I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can really see this. Well, I can't. Drawing round shapes, I like starting by doing a curve at the top, a curve at the bottom, and a curve. This is going along the side of the box, like this. So if I were to do an O, I would just continue that curve around. And then if I'm doing an S, I would follow the top of the curve, pull it across the middle like this to the front, and then down. And there is the S.